Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome into the Card Closet. This is Eric. And tonight's episode is going to be a video response to a contest that Fairweather Cards is having. He wants to get to know us a little bit. I believe this is his 300 subscriber contest. And all he wants to do is just hear some things about us, get to know us. And this contest, he posted it a week and a half ago at least, and I've been struggling with what to share. I'm a pretty boring guy. Coming to realize that through this process. So I came up with a few things that I'll share about me and my family. Probably some things that I've shared long time ago, but certainly nothing I've talked about very recently, I don't think. But as you know, I'm born and raised in South Dakota, and I've had 2 stints where I lived up in the Minneapolis metro area. And in my first stint up there, one of my very best friends was this gentleman right here, Aaron Seeley, who pitched, I think, 14 seasons roughly for the Red Sox, the Rangers, the Mariners, the Angels, the Mets, the Mariners again, and I think the Dodgers in there too. And this is actually a recent pickup. Just got it the other day. It's put out by the State of California Health and Human Services Agency. I saw it on eBay. It's not one that was on my checklist because I didn't know it existed. So picked up that Aaron Seeley card from 2002. And that's a picture of his daughter. That's her second appearance on a card, by the way. So anyway, that's one thing about me. I grew up friends with Aaron Seeley. About the time my family moved to South Dakota, his family moved out to Washington State, and that's where he had all of his success as a player. So kind of continuing down that same theme, mentioned this before too, but on the theme of professional athletes that my family has known, Jim Langer, and here he is in his rookie card with the Dolphins, Hall of Fame center for those great Miami Dolphin teams of the 1970s. As you can see, he attended South Dakota State University, and he was there the exact same time as my dad and my mom, but he and my dad became good friends. And most of the stories that my dad has to say about Jim Langer revolve around hunting. I guess that was their thing. The two of them would round up their guns. And yes, my dad said that they used to have their guns just leaning in the corners of their dorm rooms, and they'd take their guns and travel out to the country somewhere, and they would hunt together. So, continuing on that theme, Adam Vinatieri, all-time leading scorer in NFL history. You can see here that his home was Rapid City, South Dakota, and he was born in Yankton, South Dakota. Rapid City, South Dakota is the nearest big town to Mount Rushmore. He graduated from high school with my wife. They didn't know each other real well, and he was just their kicker, so it wasn't like he was a big star or anything well known around school, but still pretty interesting. They graduated together in 1991 from high school. My mother-in-law, my wife's mom, graduated from high school and grew up with Dave Osborne of the Minnesota Vikings. And they remain friends to this day. Dave's wife was my mother-in-law's roommate. So they go way back. She remembers Dave hanging out at their apartment all the time. And this was college years, but in high school even, she knew both of them, went to the same high school with them, and graduated with them. And I'm pretty tickled about this, there's a chance that this summer I'm going to meet Mr. Dave Osborne on the card here, Vikings running back in the late 60s and 70s. My mother-in-law wants to go visit Dave and his wife. They haven't seen each other for a few years. They just exchange letters and Christmas cards and that. And Dave Osborne lives in the suburbs of Minneapolis. And my mother-in-law is asking if we would take her up there to visit. So hoping to meet Dave this summer. That would be totally awesome. And then continuing along the lines of something about my family, my father-in-law grew up from Mount Vernon, South Dakota. And Chad Greenway is also from there. Let's look on the back of the card here. Mount Vernon, South Dakota. So Chad was way too young for my dad to have known him personally, but my father-in-law knows Chad's dad, and he knew Chad's grandpa really, really well. I forget if they were on adjacent farms north of Mount Vernon or if they were, very close anyway. Families knew each other very well. So that's one thing about me, Sean. Just have these odd coincidences of me and my family knowing professional athletes. I think it's odd. I think it's unique. Please let me know in the comments. Maybe some of you have way more connections than that. Maybe I'm just imagining things. But when you're from South Dakota, it's pretty rare to have these connections. And then, just for fun, never really got to know him, but I did golf with Jim Perry. I was a caddy at local country club in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Jim Perry was a member at that country club. And me and another caddy, shout out to Doug, we were out golfing. There were certain days of the week the caddies could golf, and Jim happened to be out there one of those days, and never too proud, he asked if he could golf with us, so we did. And which was kind of against the rules. You're not supposed to golf with the members, but since he initiated it, usually you just step aside, let them play through, but we stepped aside to let him play through, and he got up to us in the fairway and he said, "You mind if I just golf with you guys the rest of the way in?" So we did. It was pretty cool. Jim Perry, not a Hall of Famer, won the Cy Young Award in 1970. So that's something about me. Another thing about me that maybe y'all will find interesting, and I know I've shared this a long time ago, but I've sung the national anthem at 2 Major League Baseball games. First was I sang it at a Milwaukee Brewers game in 1998, and I remember that over the center field wall fence, where the brewer guy would slide down into the big mug of beer, that the new stadium was being built out there beyond center field. So this was in the old county stadium. And so I remember that was 98. And then the second time I sang the national anthem was at a Minnesota Twins game. And I think it was about 2002 or 2001. I know that me and the group I was with, we were warming up down underneath the stands in right field. And we were warming up. And then when we were done warming up, these 2 gentlemen from the Rangers walked in. Twins were playing the Rangers. And they did a little batting practice in this batting cage that was kind of down under the stadium there. And it was A-Rod and Rafael Palmeiro. So I stood and watched them go through their batting practice in this little cage. And then on their way out, A-Rod said hi to me as he walked by. And I remember thinking, those guys have got the biggest, most muscular chests I've ever seen. They were huge in real life. And of course, now we all know why. So anyway, go check out Fairweather Cards. Great channel. Sean, thanks for the contest. Glad to put an entry in here, even if it was lame. All right, couple things I picked up lately. Shout out to TJ Mack. He did an episode recently where he was showing great catches of the 1970s, and he picked kind of an iconic view card of each one where they were standing around home plate with their mask thrown off, in-game photo. made me think of this Veritech card. I had purchased the card prior to his video, but it arrived since his video, so I thought I would show it. This Veritech card absolutely fits the bill for the kind of cards he was showing in that video. So glad to pick that X-Fractor up. And I also picked up Hideki Okajima's rookie card X-Fractor from that same year. And then finally, this one, this is what it's all about to me. I love to trade, and I know that I mention this all the time, that I'm a big trader on the trading card database. So finally worked out a trade, a couple cards. You know, when you're trading, you don't worry too much about the condition. There's kind of an unwritten rule on the site that vintage cards are very good or better unless it's specified. So gentleman sent me pictures of his cards that I wanted from him, and mine were newer cards, so they were, you know, beautiful, perfect examples. But excited when I get a big card like this in a trade. 69 Clemente. So it's got the crease down there. I didn't have the card though, and since I just traded cards that I had doubles of, I wanted to get one of these in my collection. I can always upgrade later. But 1969 Bob Clemente. And in that same trade, 1954 Warren Spahn. Did not have this card either and wanted it in the collection. So he and Bob Clemente here cost me a Wade Boggs rookie, a Topps Roger Clemens rookie, a Topps Don Mattingly rookie, and 3 rookie cards of Aaron Judge from the Topps update of 2018. So it was his Home Run Derby card, his All-Star Game card, and his Major League debut card from that set. And so I thought it was a good trade. Condition was considered in evaluating the trade, and I just added a couple key vintage cards to my collection. So very happy to get those. So, all right, we're on 12 and a half minutes here. I'll let you go. Hope you're having a great weekend. This is Eric in the Card Closet signing off. Bye.